Alhamdulillah wassalatu wassalam ala rasulillah wa ala alihi wa ashabihi wa man wala amma ba'du. Then alhamdulillah we have completed the first section of Al-Qira'atu Rashida. We have read all 31 readings and explained them in what I would consider great detail. So much so that rarely have we received a question in the comments or in our WhatsApp regarding a word that we may have missed. Sometimes we have received a few corrections here and there on something that we may have said about a grammar point, or someone might have questioned us thinking that the root was something other than what I stated. But these occasions are very rare, and alhamdulillah, every time the root was concerned, I was correct. And the other person wasn't necessarily wrong, but we were talking about how to find it in the Hans Word Dictionary. As far as the grammar rules, then there were a few times something being mamnu min as-sarf, or other than that, something being maf'ulun mutlaq. Then we were occasionally incorrect a few times, 2 or 3, and that was brought to our attention. Now we reach the point when we want to go over and do a better mastery of each reading. And in the back of this book, as I had explained in the last lesson or reading 31, originally I had not paid attention to this section of the book, that there were questions and exercises regarding each reading. And so I passed it up not knowing. And then when I came to know about it, I wasn't sure how to implement it into what we're trying to do here. And then finally I realized that at the end of the first section, then I would go over them. And so that's where we are now. And we said and we realized that this may be a good thing. Instead of going over every one of these questions at the end of every unit, now we have received and accumulated a lot of vocabulary, as well as verbs and other than that. So it gives us it makes us much more capable of, inshallah ta'ala, handling these questions. So the suggestion that we have is that you take the reading, and the PDF is, as always, in the first video in the playlist. So Al-Qira'atu Rashida, reading number 1, how do I spend my day? Kayfa Aqdi Yomi. Inside of that playlist, in the description, you will find the PDF. We will also place, inshallah ta'ala, the PDF for these 31 lessons inside of this video. Bi'idhnillah ta'ala, we will place the link to the PDF. It will be in a Dropbox. And we intend, inshallah ta'ala, and we have already reserved the address, we intend, inshallah ta'ala, to have a website or a blog dedicated to this book, where you will be able to access the PDFs and the explanations, as well as the exercises that we have done. Tayyib. Inshallah ta'ala, in the next week or 2, we will work on uploading everything. Tayyib. So what do? We go and we read Kayfa Aqdi Yomi. How do I spend my day? Read the text. Make sure that you understand it. Make sure that there's not anything in there that's missing from you. You understand the text in general with some specifics. If you're having a problem understanding, then go back and re-watch the video that we did when we covered that lesson. And take notes. Write down your vowels. Write in the verbs. Make corrections that might have appeared in the misprint of the book. Go and make yourself a dictionary, your own. Get a notebook and make your own dictionary. Have 4 or 5 pages for alif, 4 or 5 pages for ba, 4 or 5 pages for ta, so on and so forth. And then put your words in there, nouns and verbs, so on and so forth. And once you understand that first text, then you come here, inshallah ta'ala, and you answer these questions. So let's get to it. كيف أقضي يومي. الأسئلة, the plural of سؤال. كيف أقضي يومي, how do I spend my day? الأسئلة, the plural of سؤال, questions. Number 1, الأولى, الأول, السؤال الأول, the first question. ماذا تفعل عندما تستيقظ من نومك؟ ماذا, what, تفعل, you do. So what do you do? عندما, when, تستيقظ, you wake up, من نومك, from your sleep. You're going to say something like, maybe you read in the story, أستيقظ لكي أصلي. Right? I wake up so I can pray. أستيقظ وأغسل يدي. I wake up and I wash my hands. أستيقظ وأقضي حاجتي. I wake up and I take care of my needs. I use the bathroom, a polite way of saying I use my needs. I take care of my needs. A polite way of saying I use the bathroom. أقضي حاجة. You say I need to use the bathroom. You say عندي حاجة, meaning I have a need, right? You don't have to say I gotta pee or poop or like this. Say I have a need, and it's understood that you need some privacy, right? So أستيقظ وأقضي حاجتي وأغسل يدي وأتوضأ وأصلي قيام الليل. Maybe I get up early and I pray قيام الليل. وأدعو الله, and I ask Allah للنجاح في الامتحان, for success in the test. Whatever the case might be, you've accumulated a lot of vocabulary. So you can أستيقظ من نومي لكي أصلي وبعد الصلاة أقرأ القرآن حتى, I wake up and I pray and then I read Quran until such and such. You can answer this question. You're not answering the question according to what was in the text. You're going to try to answer the question according to your own schedule. What do you do when you wake up from Salah? If you're having a difficult time, the chances are you're a Muslim watching this and you do the same things that he did. So then you could just copy and paste and try to morph the verbs into first person instead of third person, and so on and so forth. Whatever the case is, make it yours as much as you're able to. Right? And a side point, I noticed, and I still notice, that if I'm asked to talk in Arabic, when I was in the university, if the teacher told me tomorrow you have to give a 2 to 3 minute talk on kada wa kada, on such and such topic, then what I would do is I would go online and I would find an article or something regarding it and I would write it down. And I found that when I wrote the words, I owned them more than when I just listened to them. Right? I owned them. I was able to move them and do what I wanted to do with them better when I had written them first. So this exercise here is good for you. If you want to say what you do when you wake up in the morning from your sleep, right? Then write it down. And then you will be able to, because as you write it, and right, أقرأ, whatever, أقرأ القرآن, whatever you do, whatever you start to write, you will begin to own that. You will begin to own that, and then you will be able to say it. right? You might say ana yaqra. No, ana aqra'u. We got to erase that, right? We got to go back. Aqra'u. And once you do all that, you go this back and forth that you're going through, right? Quran, and you forget to put the, no, I got to put alif lam there, right? Oh, once you go through those mistakes and you fix it, then you're going to own that now. Because those mistakes that you might say, ana yaqra'u, is something you would say in your speech if you were going to just talk. So when you go and you write it down and then you realize, no, I said that wrong. Aqra'u is me, yaqra'u is him, right? Quran needs alif lam, so on and so forth. Then, right, then you will fix it. So now when it comes time for you to say it, you'll say it correctly, bi'idhnillah ta'ala. And you'll still need practice, but that's what I noticed with myself. So, ماذا تفعل عندما تستيقظ من نومك? What do you do when you wake up from your sleep? You should answer that. السؤال الثاني, the second question. لماذا تستيقظ باكرا? Why do you wake up early? أستيقظ باكرا لأن صلاة الفجر يدخل أو تدخل باكرا. I wake up early because Fajr comes in early. Or I wake up early لكي أدعو الله وهو وربي ينزل إلى السماء الدنيا في آخر ثلث الليل. And I make dua because my Lord, He descends to the sky of the dunya in the last third of the night. Whatever you might say, why do you get up early? أستيقظ مبكرا لأقرأ القرآن. I wake up early so I can read Quran. أستيقظ مبكرا لأنني أذهب إلى المدرسة. I wake up early because I go to school. Whatever your answer might be, answer this according to you. And if you're having problems, look and see what he said. السؤال الثالث. هل تساعد أباك في شراء الحاجيات من السوق؟ هل تساعد, do you assist or help أباك, your father, في شراء, in buying الحاجيات, the needs, من السوق, meaning the things you need for the house, the household needs from the سوق, from the marketplace. نعم أساعد أبي في شراء الحاجيات من السوق. نعم, I help my father. You have to change it. أبي. نعم أساعد أبي في شراء الحاجيات من السوق. Simple question. Right? Simple answer. السؤال الرابع. كيف تقضي يوم العطلة? كيف تقضي يوم العطلة? How do you spend the day off? The day of a break. The day off, the weekend or a holiday, right? Utla, ijaza. How do you spend this time? What do you do? أقرأ الكتب, أزور أصدقائي, أزور أقاربي. I visit my friends, I visit my relatives, I read books, right? You can use vocabulary that you got from other lessons, right? Such as in going to the nuzha and the tabakh, meaning so I go out and I cook, right? I take a stroll, right? I exercise in the garden, and ajri fil hadiqa. That might be a reason you wake up early. لماذا تستيقظ باكرا لكي أجري في الحديقة قبل أن أذهب إلى المدرسة. I wake up early so that I can run in the garden before I go to school. Right? All of these things. كيف تقضي يوم العطلة? How do you spend the day off, basically? Right? السؤال الخامس والأخير, the fifth question and the last one in this section. ما الأذكار التي تقولها حين تريد أن تنام? What are the adhkar? What are the words of remembrance? التي, which, تقولها, you say them, حين, when, تريد أن تنام, when you want to sleep. When you want to go to sleep, what are the adhkar that you say? You can say الأذكار التي أقولها حين أريد أن أنام. Here, the adhkar which I say them when I want to go to sleep, they are Ayatul Kursi, right? قل هو الله أحد قل أعوذ برب الفلق قل أعوذ برب الناس, right? قل يا أيها الكافرون بسمك اللهم أموت وأحيا. Whatever adhkar that you say before you go to sleep. أنا أقرأ سورة الملك. I read سورة الملك. أنا أقرأ الآيتين أخيرتين من سورة البقرة. I read the last 2 ayat from Surah Al-Baqarah. Whatever the adhkar are, you would answer them. Answer them according to you. These are according to what you do, O listener. Right? Then we have a second set of questions, and these are multiple choice. They're rather easy. اختار الإجابة الصحيحة مما يلي. Choose. اختار. Right? الإجابة. Choose the correct. The الإجابة الصحيحة. Choose the correct answer. مما يلي, from what follows. أين تتعلم? Where do you learn? في المسجد, في المدرسة, or في المنزل. You could just circle one, or you could put in extra work and say التعلم في المسجد, التعلم في المدرسة, التعلم في المنزل. Maybe you learn in 2 of them. التعلم في المسجد والمدرسة. Or maybe you learn in all 3 of them. التعلم في المسجد والمدرسة والمنزل. هكذا. Right? And write it out. التعلم. And the last one. أين تتلقى الدروس? From where do you take the lessons? Right? أين تتلقى الدروس? Where do you take the lessons? في الشارع, in the street. في الحديقة, in the garden. في حجرة الدراسة, in the room of studying. Right? In the classroom, basically. So where do you أين تتلقى الدروس? Where do you take the lessons? في الشارع, في الحديقة, في حجرة الدراسة. Most probably في حجرة الدراسة. Or maybe, right, you listen to this on the way to work, or on the way to school, on the train or the bus, something like that. So maybe you say في الشارع, right? في القطار, on the train. في الحافلة, and the bus. Or maybe you are at home and it's noisy inside with the little brothers and sisters or something, so on and so forth. So you go outside and sit with your laptop or your iPad or something like that, and you listen. في الحديقة, in the garden. Or again, maybe it's more than one. Maybe it's 2 or 3. Or maybe it's none of these, like I said. في القطار, في الحافلة, whatever. Any, answer them. Don't just circle. You could just circle and you would achieve it. However, if you write it out, التلقى الدروس في حجرة الدراسة, then this is going to be better, and it's going to help you to own those words because you've written them, and the next time you want to say them, you will be able to say them. Inshallah ta'ala. So this is what we wanted to cover in these lessons. And now this one is a little longer than I wanted to be due to the explanation that we gave of what we've done so far and what I suggest that you do from here on out. Next time, that will not exist, inshallah ta'ala, at least not in the length that it was today. We will just go over the questions and the multiple choice or whatever else they might give us and throw at us. With that, as always, you can send your homework. If you don't have someone in the masjid or someone in the house or someone at school or someone that you know that can sit down with you about these, send them to me on WhatsApp. Right? Send them to me on WhatsApp. Print this page out. Answer them. Right? Answer them. Right? Or print them out on another page. I don't care. That would be good homework for you too. Right? To write out the questions as well. Write out the questions as well. Say, ماذا تفعل عندما تستيقظ من نومك? You write that out and then write your answer. Write this out and then your answer. It's only going to help you. So when you want to ask someone, what do you do? Because maybe if someone asks you what you do, you will be able to answer because you wrote it. But if you wanted to ask someone, you'd have to remember this question, and you only read it. So if you write it and you say it as you do it, ماذا تفعل عندما تستيقظ, right? And so on and so forth. من نومك, right? When you do that, you will now own those words. So now when you want to ask someone, you can do that. If you don't have anyone to help you, as I was saying, then you can always send me your homework at 1314-828-8060 on WhatsApp. Inshallah ta'ala, give me a couple days and I will answer it. If you wanted to write it in the comments below, although that would be a little more difficult, but if that's what you choose to do, you have an Arabic keyboard and you're looking at YouTube and you want to write it in the comments below, then feel free to do so, right? With that, we conclude. Subhanaka Allahumma wa bihamdika, ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta, astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to make us sincere and to teach us what benefits us and to benefit us with what He teaches us, and to give us understanding of the book and the sunnah and the speech of the ulama. And we ask Him to make the learning of this Arabic language easy for us. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.